Very warm welcome to all the students at AHR's IS Institute. So today we are going to be discussing about the third online prelims test that we had conducted. So moving along, you can see that the first question is about arrange the following nuclear power plant according to their capacity in decreasing order. Now we are talking about their capacity. So obviously the units that are being commissioned in megawatts are to be taken into consideration. Why would a question like this be asked? Is basically nuclear power is the next source of power. We are also talking about clean energy. Therefore, anything pertaining to nuclear power and their fuels would become important from examination point of view. You're not expected to get this answer right, but please go through the explanation. We have talked about the locational distribution of NPCIL's presence in India. We have also talked about the capacity that is mentioned here in the table. So you can go through that. This kind of information will always become useful from the perspective of writing answers in prelims or getting your answers correct in prelims. Let us look at question number 2. So this question is about LIGO, Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. Okay, so this is a very factual question based on current affairs, because gravitational waves is a part of your current affairs and is much in news because it has a ripple effect and it gives us a lot of answers as regards our sources of energy or matter, right? Therefore I urge all of you to go through your current affairs thoroughly, because we are incorporating about 20 to 25 questions from a given period of 15 days. If you have gone through your current affairs thoroughly, by the end of this test series you will have brushed up your entire current affairs, and that will come in handy during your prelims. So LIGO, definitely it's a very important topic, and as the explanation goes, scientists have directly detected gravitational waves ripples through the fabric of space-time created by extreme cataclysmic events in distant universe. Now that calculates the gravitational wave arose from the collision of two black holes. Okay, and the detection of gravitational waves once again confirmed Einstein's theory of general relativity. So mark this in your memory that gravitational waves have a direct correlation with Einstein's theory of relativity. Okay, even a simple question like this could be asked in prelims, so be prepared with that. Now the next question is about monazite. Monazite is an ore for many important fuels like thorium, lanthanum and cerium also. Therefore monazite is in the news. Why? I can also draw a correlation with India getting NSG waiver as regards supply of fuel is concerned, because this is an era which is going to push us closer towards nuclear energy, and for that fuel becomes important. If fuel is important, for that we have to find out other sources which are available in India. Yes, I know that we are importing a lot of nuclear fuel from nuclear suppliers group, and we have gotten permission also to do so, but at the same time it would be economically prudent to find the reserves within the country only, and then go ahead with nuclear production or nuclear power production, to put it properly. Okay, I have also tried to incorporate a lot of relevant information here. If you can look at it according to the states, so Andhra Pradesh obviously comes across as the state with most or the highest reserves of monazite. In the prelims they can just ask you to arrange states in increasing or decreasing order of the monazite reserves that they have. So this level of information will help you very greatly in tackling questions like these. Now moving along, the next question is again about current affairs. It's a very factual question. I did not expect a lot of students to answer this correctly, but this is merely for your information. FYI. Why I would say that is because such questions or such statements might occur, especially a statement number 1, right? कि लेफ्ट विंग एक्सट्रीमिज्म और रेड कॉरिडोर के साथ आप कौन से स्टेट्स को जोड़ सकते हैं, बिकॉज दैट इज मच इन न्यूज, finds a mention in all the editorials. Therefore they might simply ask you about red corridor or left wing extremism. In that case you should be prepared with it. Now we're talking about Africa in the next few questions, wherein we're talking about Africa is the home to gold mining as well as a lot of diamond deposits. Therefore, it becomes important. Africa is the new poster child of exploration of a lot of resources like iron ore also. So there is a mad rush or there is a scramble for Africa once again. Therefore, it is very likely that UPSC might ask something on the lines of resource base in Africa. So Africa is the third biggest continent, which implies large quantities of resources. Gold mining is Africa's main resource. अब ऐसे क्वेश्चन में the first statement is going to only test you your physical geography. Although it looks like a question from current affairs, but what is the first statement? It talks about Africa being the third biggest continent in the world. Now, यहाँ तक like till continent, if you can decipher what the statement says, आपको आगे पढ़ने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. So is Africa the third biggest continent? Obviously no, because Africa is the second biggest continent. That makes it what? That makes the first statement wrong. So obviously choices like A and C are ruled out. Now only choice B and D are left. So you have zeroed down to two options now. Gold mining is Africa's main mining resource, right? So we all of us know that gold deposits have been found in Africa. अगर आप आपका NCERT भी पढ़ेंगे तो उसमें भी दिया हुआ है that gold deposits have been found at Ghana, right? So gold mining is Africa's main mining resource. Could be or could not be true, but a guesstimate or a intelligent estimate or a guess would help you arrive to the conclusion that yes, gold mining is could be Africa's main mining resource because there is a lot of demand for gold in the world right now, right? Therefore it becomes important. अब आपको सेकंड स्टेटमेंट के बारे में थोड़ा फैक्चुअल इन्फॉर्मेशन रहेगा तो यू कैन इजीली आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन. ऐसे ही क्वेश्चंस आपको और ज्यादा पूछे जाएंगे, राइट? A lot of other factual information is also provided in the explanation. You can go through the amount and the proportion of diamond reserves that are found in Africa. You can also do the same for gold. You can also do the same for uranium, bauxite, steel, copper, platinum and coal. I am sure that there will be a question based on Africa in next year's prelims. Mark my words. Either in the prelims or in the mains examination, something pertaining to Africa will be asked, and the most relevant and the most likely outpost that would be asked looks to be natural resources. Therefore, this table or this explanation chart would help you greatly. Just commit this to your memory, and you'd be able to answer almost all the questions based on Africa, at least from the human and economic geography perspective. So moving along, we again talk about Africa producing diamonds and gold. This question can be easily answered using the information given in the last section or the last question. So there also is a question about International Seabed Authority. Now, without delving too much into the question, which talks about that it being a governmental body based in Jamaica, or it also talks about it's an organization established under the UNCLOS, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas, right? Why would this be asked? Is because of the South China Sea dispute. Because South China Sea dispute में International Court of Justice has ruled against Chinese dominance in the region. That means what? That it is going to be an international framework like the International Seabed Authority, which is going to decide the mining rights in that region. Okay, so it talks about the having control over seabed which extends beyond the exclusive economic zones of all the countries, right? So हो सकता है कि ऐसे authorities पे आपको question आने वाले, right? In the mains, yes, they will ask you to analyze, like this year they asked you to analyze about South China Sea dispute. But in the prelims, they are going to ask you about the bodies and their functions and the roles and their responsibilities, especially the bodies that have been in news. Like previously, UPSC has asked about Ramsar sites. In the PT last year, they also talked about International BirdLife Association, IBA, right? Why? Is because such bodies have been in news for various reasons. So I urge you to list out all such bodies and make a list of them, of their functions, roles and responsibilities. From what we can do from our end is to incorporate a lot of such questions in a manner that it would equip you with a basic understanding of all such questions. देखिए बहुत ज़्यादा डिटेल में जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. You have to go for smart study. You have to have the bent of mind which tells you what is important and what is not. What we are doing here in the lectures is to make sure at least give you a glimpse of what is very, very important and relevant and will has a high potential to be asked in the examination, like International Seabed Authority. Okay. Beyond that, the question is about graphite. So graphite, maize, tin, and other such resources which are found in country, and their proportion and their location is very important. As I said, in this section I have tried to incorporate a lot of things which have been in news and which are important from economic geography perspective. Why would I put graphite? The question is very simple, that graphite is a naturally occurring form of crystalline carbon, and it is also known as black lead. Also, graphite is in news because it is used as an alternative to many resources. Okay, therefore graphite becomes important. Okay, now on the similar lines I have put the next question on mica. Mica is a naturally occurring non-metallic mineral that is based on a collection of silicates. Mica is a very good insulator that has a wide range of applications in electrical and electronics industry. The mica belt lies in Nellore district and India has a near monopoly in the production of mica. दोनों statements में बहुत ज़्यादा facts है and to both the statements look very heavy at the outset. But there is a catch. I am talking about having monopoly in the production of mica. If you have gone through your papers or even through your NCRTs, you would know that India is the leading producer of mica. That much information is enough for you to conclude that statement 2 should be right. Okay. Now statement 1, mica is a naturally occurring non-metallic mineral. Now non-metallic mineral hai, ye almost everyone knows, right? So this part is right. And it is based on a collection of silicates. Mica is a very good insulator. Mica is a very good insulator. Even we have read that in our science NCRTs in schools also, that mica is used as an insulating agent in a lot of electrical and electronics appliances. So this question was based on your general understanding about mica. I did not put anything specific pertaining to the locational aspect of mica और कितना proportion आता है और कौन से area में कितना proportion बनता है. मैंने इतना ज़्यादा details नहीं डाले, मगर question ऐसा लगता है कि it's very heavily loaded with facts. But if you just go back to your school textbooks, your textbooks will help you answer a question like this. And UPSC will again test you in the same manner at PT. So माइका के ऊपर हमने इंफॉर्मेशन जोड़ ली है, ग्राफाइट के ऊपर इंफॉर्मेशन जोड़ ली है. वैसे इंफॉर्मेशन जोड़ते जोड़ते इफ यू रिवाइज दिस पर्टिकुलर टेस्ट प्रॉपर्ली, you will have a lot of information already at your disposal. Then moving on to next question, it talks about conventional reservoirs of oil and natural gas are found in permeable sandstone. Unlike much natural gas from conventional reserves, coal-bed methane contains very little heavier hydrocarbons such as propane or butane. I understand, I apologize for the question being so tough, but there is a need to incorporate such tough questions. In PT, don't expect such tough questions. We are putting such tough questions especially to enhance your learning, to make sure that you have maximum benefit, that you derive a lot from our questions and our answers and their explanation, so that the questions at PT should appear very easy to moderate to you. So such occurrence of such difficult questions in your examination or in your test series is inevitable. Don't be bogged down, don't get discouraged. It's only to help you enrich your repository of knowledge about human and economic geography. So these both statements are right. I have also put in a relevant link here. So if you go through the link, you will understand everything about coal-bed methane. Coal-bed methane again is an alternative fuel being used to replace carbon-emitting fuels. So all the carbon replacement for all the carbon-emitting fuels like coal-bed methane and also your or other sources like shale gas could be asked in the examination. Shale gas has much been in news, and shale gas has also been asked in PT 2013 if I am not wrong. So the chance of being asked about CBM, coal-bed methane, in the future is very likely. Although coal-bed methane, I must add, since it's carbon based, obviously it is going to be carbon emitting, right? But since our reserves are depleting for oil and gas, we need a replacement, we need an alternative fuel, and therefore coal-bed methane is being explored as the next destination. So moving on to question number 14, it talks about nuclear power. obviously one of the major sources of power in the country today, and also the fact that we are moving towards cleaner forms of energy. Therefore, nuclear power becomes very important from geography study perspective. You also need to know that nuclear power is the fourth largest source of electricity. Where do you find such information? It's always given in the economic surveys. And if you have been through your editorials regularly, what you will see is that such information will always filter out. So, statement number one is automatically right. Right? Now, India has been making advances in the field of uranium-based fuels, working to design and develop a prototype for an atomic reactor using uranium and low-enriched thorium, a key part of India's three-stage nuclear program. Now, this is a very long statement, but this one statement would encapsulate everything that you need to know about India's nuclear program. So, I would urge the participants to go through the Wikipedia page of India's three-stage nuclear power program. You will get enough fodder to get this answer right. So what I would suggest is that Wikipedia first paragraph coupled with economic survey for all the natural resources and sources of energy would accrue benefits for you in the examination. Okay. Now when we move on to the next thing, it is about graphite. Graphite we have already done. Now consider countries around the Strait of Malacca. Strait of Malacca has been much in news because of the persisting news on South China Sea or the dispute that is raging along. Therefore, I would urge the aspirants to locate all the important geographical things which appear in the news on the map. Strait of Malacca is a very important geographical entity because it is a connecting point between Indonesia and Malaysia, a very important trade route, therefore becomes very important. Whenever there is something that you are locating on the map, always talk about the surrounding countries, always see if there are any seas around, always see if there are any river channels, always check whether it is congruent with any volcanic formations or not. So this was a very straightforward question for everybody who knew the answer, right? So countries around Strait of Malacca would be Indonesia, right? So one only is the answer. If you have pasted your maps on your walls, you would definitely get a right answer to this. Okay. So it is not Vietnam, it is not Singapore, it is not Thailand, because it is clearly between Indonesia and Malaysia. I suppose that this was a very easy question for serious aspirants because all of us are in the news, all of us are in the know of the locational aspects of the Strait of Malacca. The next question would be about sugar. India has a long tradition of manufacturing sugar. References of sugar making by the Indians are found even in the Atharva Veda. Modern sugar industry came on only in the middle of the 19th century when it was introduced by the Dutch in the northern Bihar. Such information is critical and is given in your NCRTs. So this is a question lifted from your NCRTs. Now whether it is found in the Atharva Veda or not is a matter of trivia. We will always incorporate such trivia in your papers is because there is no guarantee that UPSC will not ask a question on these lines. Therefore, you should be thorough with everything. Sugar के बारे में हमने इसलिए बोला है because sugar specifically is mentioned as a food, as an article which is to be consumed in the Atharva Veda. Likewise, there are not many articles which are mentioned in the Atharva Veda, right? So therefore, such questions require you to read and reread and revise your NCRTs thoroughly because sugar is in the news. Sugar is in the news because sugar mill owners are incurring a lot of losses. Also because of the issue of minimum selling price of sugar. Also because of the issues of ethanol blending being made mandatory. Therefore, sugar becomes an important aspect. So you could expect a direct question on sugar industry or you could expect an indirect question like this on the sugar industry. Again, I have put in some question, the same question on sugar. Whether it is a politically sensitive commodity, cyclicality in production, the dual price mechanism, and the monthly release mechanism. If you have gone through your editorials properly, you will understand that it is indeed a politically sensitive commodity. Therefore, option number 1 is definitely right. That means what? That means option number B is negated. It is a politically sensitive commodity. It is because in Maharashtra, in the sugar belt of Baramati, it has a lot of political patronage. As well as we see the same in UP. Now sugarcane is a commercial crop. Now for any, and also a water intensive crop. That means it requires a lot of water. Now in areas where farmers are getting electricity subsidy, obviously they will go for sugarcane, is because sugarcane is a commercial crop, as I said. Therefore, for politicians it becomes a good tool to extend subsidy benefit to farmers. What happens when politicians extend subsidy benefit to farmers? Farmers drop off their traditional cultivating varieties and adopt sugarcane, right? Therefore, it becomes a politically sensitive commodity, which tells us that option B is definitely wrong. This must not have been greatly difficult for candidates who have been going through their news regularly. Cyclicality in production, the dual price mechanism, the government fixed the ratio of levy sugar and free sale sugar quota. Okay, now to understand the statement number 3, it is important again, as I said, that you may have, or you should have, or you could have gone through your newspapers. Okay, a detailed explanation of every type and every option is given here in the explanation part. You can read about the FRP issue and the SAP issue. You can read about the cane pricing issue. Once you go through these issues, they will not only help you enrich your understanding from the MCQ point of view, but also will help you to write your answers in a better and a crystal manner. I understand that this question was a little tough for aspirants, but such questions will always test your elimination capacities as well as your memory. Now let's look at question number 20. It talks about, it is only simply asking you to consider these C's and arrange them in the north to south order, right? Again, a map based question will definitely become a potential question for your prelims 2017. Timor Sea, Sulu Sea, Bali Sea and Celebes Sea. This area that we see here on in the map between Indonesia and New Guinea is basically an area which is abundantly rich in marine biodiversity, as well as this is an area which houses a lot of tropical rainforest. Therefore, it becomes important from the geography and environment point of view. Has been much in news for its corals and the associated tourism as well. Therefore, we have put this question here. What you can see very clearly that you can arrange these seas from the west to east order as my cursor is moving on the map, right? Again, I would ask you to not only consider these seas but also see the kind of countries that are around them. Therefore, if at all a question is asked from the country's perspective, then also you should be in a position to handle it. So we have a lot of questions appearing from the sugarcane side. If you go through all the questions based on sugarcane, your preparation for sugarcane as a commercial crop is over. Consider this over if you just go through the explanations thoroughly and sincerely. Now the next question is very, very interesting. Question number 23. It is about a critical mass is the smallest amount of fissile material needed for a sustained nuclear chain reaction. Right? The proliferation risk of heavy water reactor was demonstrated when India produced the plutonium for Operation Smiling Buddha. Now it has a little bit of historicity associated with it because Operation Buddha or Operation Smiling Buddha is mentioned here, as well as it talks about the mechanism or the chain reaction that goes on in the fissile material, right? Therefore, a little bit of scientific understanding will help you understand this question better. I have incorporated a lot of maps here. If you just go through these maps, you will be able to answer this question correctly. So question number 24 is about Makassar Strait, Malacca Strait and Sunda Strait. Again, we have a lot of focus on this region. Please, I urge you, all of you, to go through this region very carefully. See the straits and the straits which connect other regions and other seas, so that you are well placed for your prelim 2017. Next question is straight away lifted from your current affairs section. We all of us know that State Bank of India has gone for rationalization of manpower through mergers and acquisition. So which of the following banks have been merged with the State Bank of India recently? That would be definitely State Bank of Baroda would help you get the answer correct here, is because it is not State Bank of Baroda, it is Bank of Baroda. There is no such financial entity called as State Bank of Baroda. So even if you know this much, what happens is you can easily eliminate all the three other options. So this is a trick to get your answers right. You need not know anything about State Bank of Bikaner in Jaipur, State Bank of Hyderabad, and Bharatiya Mahila Bank. Also know that apart from State Bank Associates, even Bharatiya Mahila Bank, which is not a State Bank Associate, has been merged with the State Bank of India, right? So this is how you eliminate and you get your answers right. I urge all of you to read and reread all the questions once again so that you can at least get 2-3 questions like this correct. Now there also is a question about the National Optics Fiber Network Policy. So the National Optics Fiber Network, why is it in news, or why was it in news? It will always be in news because we are talking about a Digital India program. We are striving to become the cashless economy. Therefore, we need a digital infrastructure which has penetration across the length and breadth of the country. We want to digitalize our panchayats as well and connect them with the online network. For that, the underlying basis or the fundamental would be National Optics Fiber Network Policy, right? Therefore, it is much in news and has to be studied in at greater detail, is because it will appear in your mains examination also. There is a high chance that NOFN will find itself in the mains 2017. The information that is given here in the question would be sufficient to answer the question. It is a project to provide broadband connectivity to 2.5 lakh gram panchayats to India. So this is fairly simple because it has appeared in a lot of newspapers, and not just that, even if you have gone through the headlines in the past 6 months, this would have given you the right answer. A special purpose vehicle, Bharat Broadband Network Limited, was created as public sector undertaking under the Companies Act of 1956 for the execution of the project. Now guys, remember one thing, that whenever they ask you about an entity, they will always ask about the department that it comes under, or the ministry that it falls under, or if there is a special purpose vehicle which is designed and conceived to carry out that particular project. The same thing was asked in PT 2015 about IREDA, right? So questions on those lines will always be asked. That is the objective of UPSC, to check the candidate's ability to see and to organize various institutes or various institutions under various ministries. So therefore, keep a track, especially the news that appears in the Press Information Bureau section, because it is PIB which will give you most of the information regarding such questions. So since we have carefully devised our current affairs on a 15-day basis, I think you have equal and ample time to devote to 15 days of current affairs for every given test. Then there's a question on India's 3-stage nuclear program. Whatever be the question, I want all of you to go through the explanation, because it is the explanation which is key. Now, which sea separates North Australia and Indonesia? Indonesia is in the news because India and Indonesia are trying to forge newer ties. Australia has always been a positive ally of India, and therefore Indonesia and Australia become a part of India's ambitious Look East policy. Although Australia falls in the Asia Pacific, but the Act East policy or the Look East policy will further reinvigorate India's ties with the Australian continent. And needless to say that Indonesia has been much in news, especially regarding India-Indonesia relationship. Also because of the fact that India and Indonesia have similar demographies, because we have a large chunk of Muslim population. This brings India and Indonesia closer. So Indonesia as a topic to be asked in MCQs is highly likely. Therefore, I have tried to incorporate a lot of questions around Indonesia. So question number 30 is about India's first prototype fast breeder reactor is at Kalpakkam. Pressurized fast breeder reactor will be cooled by liquid sodium, creates additional safety requirements to isolate the coolant from the environment, since sodium explodes if it comes into contact with water and burns when it comes in contact with air. आपको यहाँ पे सिर्फ इतना जानना जरूरी है कि सोडियम इज वोलेटाइल इन नेचर. आपको जो बाकी इंफॉर्मेशन दी गई है, that is just to confuse you, that is just to overwhelm you, to tell you that the question is very tough. But the question is not tough if you know that sodium is very volatile, and if you know a very trivial information like India's first fast breeder reactor is at Kalpakkam, right? So this is the kind of This is the kind of information that is always available with Wikipedia. The first two paragraphs or even one paragraph sometimes is enough to answer questions like that. So please go through your current affairs carefully. Please go through nuclear energy, India's 3-stage nuclear program, and also the fuels that are to be used very carefully, because India-centric questions, whenever they are asked in the resources section, they will always focus on issues of current importance. So question number 38 talks about the network railways of India. आपको पता होना चाहिए कि नेटवर्क रेलवे ऑफ इंडिया का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कैसा है कंट्री में. So the first statement is about northern plains and eastern coast of India possess dense network of railways because of level and fertile soil and dense population. Right? Now at the outset, this statement sounds very logical, isn't it? Because if there is a network or a dense network of railways, you will have to clear a lot of forest land, or probably you will require a lot of land which is suitable for railway construction. Now, northern plains and eastern coast of India possesses such ready facility available or ready land available to lay down a rail network. So it becomes easy. अगर आप वही western coast की बात करेंगे, so obviously it is ridden with western ghats. Therefore, it becomes very difficult to carve out a railway line out of that. In fact, the Indian Konkan Railway, the project is one of the most splendid and the most exceptional example of construction and execution. But it required a lot of manpower. It required a lot of other skills. Therefore, it's not easy to conjure or conceive or design a product or a railway network like that, right? Even South India has a lot of forests. It is also ridden with a lot of mountains. You have Anaimudi, you have Dodabetta. So this question was basically about getting your first statement right through logic and the power of derivation. The second statement is about coal is most dominant commodity transported by Indian Railways, which promote industrial growth of coal-starved area. You should know that coal is transported by using railway wagons, especially from the east coast. Why would I say east coast? Is because we import a lot of coal from Indonesia, right? And that was also featuring in India's relationship with Indonesia in the recent past. At the same time, now we have Adani coal mining, or Adani has acquired a lot of coal mine in Australia, in Darwin, I think. Therefore, it becomes important to know that coal is an imported entity in India, which is used for powering our thermal power plants. Not that in India we don't have coal, but in India we have low-grade coal, due to which the efficiency of the thermal power plants comes down. Whereas you have high-grade coal, at B-grade coal coming from the Bunyo mines of Indonesia, right? So this is again a part of your NCERT and your general reading. Please focus on that. You'll get your answers right. So that question number 40 is about smelting. Now smelting is the process of converting ore to metal by removing impurities. Silicon acts as an oxidizing agent in reaction, but small amount is sufficient. Okay. Basically, silicon acts as a deoxidizing agent, and small quantities are good. Oxides decrease the strength of iron. The explanation itself says everything, right? Oxides decrease the strength of iron means what? Oxidation कब होता है? In the presence of water, right? इसीलिए लोहे को जंग लग जाता है. अगर बहुत दिन तक पानी में रहे और उसको वैसे ही छोड़ दिया जाए तो लोहे को लग जाता है जंग, right? Therefore, even small quantities are enough. I would say that smelting के बारे में, I hope everybody knows, it was a part of our school curriculum as well. So this question could be both easy and difficult if you have read it, if you have read your NCERTs properly, or if you have your good recall memory. In that situation, this question becomes very easy. So question number 42 is about Maitri Express. Definitely one of the hot current affair topics of that month. Why would I say that? Is because it connects Myanmar, Bhutan. Why Myanmar and Bhutan are important? Because Bhutan is a country wedged between India and China. So Indian presence in China, or any kind of rail and road network in China, is very, very critical. for our foreign policy or for our international relations as well as internal security, right? India is definitely one of the countries which is a part of the trilateral highway, although that highway would definitely give us access to Bangladesh and Myanmar, Cambodia and Laos. India is also incorporating and cooperating with Indonesia, Myanmar to develop the Kaladan multi-model project. Kaladan is a river in Myanmar, and India is developing is helping develop a multi-model project over there. Therefore, any happening in Myanmar as regards port-led development, as regards infrastructural development would become critical, and therefore would be definitely asked in the examination, a very highly likely topic which would feature in the next year's prelims. Now moving along, there are some questions about magnetite and hematite. You need to focus on magnetites and hematites is because there are key components. UPSC ने बहुत सालों से कुछ पूछा नहीं है इसके ऊपर, so next year they might spring up a surprise. Also, a part of core syllabus will help you immensely while understanding locations and factors affecting locations of industries as well as food processing industries, right? Therefore, I would urge all of you to go through your NCERTs once again properly. अगर time नहीं मिलता है तो in our explanations also we have given a lot of relevant information about magnetite and hematite. Even that information is more than enough to crack the question in the prelims next year. Havelock Island lies in which ocean? Now, अभी Havelock Island के बारे में आपको पूछा क्यों जा रहा है is because it's very simple that some people were evacuated from Havelock Island because of cyclone conditions developing in that region. Therefore, it was in the news. So, हो सकता है कि and since it is so close to Andaman, in fact, a part of Andaman and situated in the Andaman Sea, it becomes very, very critical, a part of Indian sovereign territory, and therefore could be a part of your answer as well. So then there are some questions regarding bauxite, or then there are some questions regarding the railway zones and their headquarters. Railway zones and their headquarters become important. So there are some questions on broad gauge and narrow gauge. Broad gauge lines which account for 74.14% of the total length of rail routes in the country. Narrow gauge nearly 4.94% of the total length of the Indian railways is narrow gauge, which is generally confined to hilly areas. So if you remember Parinita the movie, you must have seen narrow gauge in motion. There are so many Indian movies in which you see narrow gauge in motion. What we generally observe is that the wagons are very small and the sitting capacity is also very small. That tells us that the narrow gauge is very limited to hilly areas, and thus therefore the bulk of transportation falls on the broad gauge. This is common knowledge. इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा आपको सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है, मगर आपको कंफ्यूज करने के लिए यहाँ पे फिगर्स डाले हुए हैं 74.14%, 4.94%. ये फिगर्स अगर आपको याद रहेंगे या आपको अप्रोक्सीमेशन ऑफ फिगर्स भी पता रहेगा तो भी you'd be able to get your answers right. Also, such information would definitely come in handy during writing your answers for the mains. So we are at the end of the first innings here, almost midway. The next question is about lead. Why do you think that lead becomes important from the examination point of view? It's because in 2012 when you had the coal scam, there was a question in 2012 PT about the calorific value of coal and other physical and chemical properties of coal and which of them are right. Okay, so anything that is in news may be asked. All of us are in the knowledge of that. Why was lead in news? Because our staple diet called as Maggi was found to be contaminated with lead, right? And therefore lead was much in news for a very, very long period of time. I would urge all of you to go through the explanation part, and if you've gotten the answer right also doesn't mean that explanation is not relevant or important for you. It is a significant part of your preparation. Going through your explanations over and over again is a part of your preparation. Please do not forego this. I repeat, guys, please do not forego this exercise. Explanations become your road to success. They will pave your path to success at PT 2017, right? So question number 52 is about Trans-Canadian Long Rail Line in Canada, which runs from Halifax in the east to Vancouver on the Pacific coast, passing to the Montreal, Ottawa, Winnipeg, and Calgary. This is a statement taken from your NCERTs. Therefore, anybody who has read these NCRTs thoroughly would definitely understand that this part of the answer is right, or statement number 1 is right. That means what? That negates two options, that is 2 only and none. You're left with option number A, 1 only and 4. So at least there's now a 50% chance of you getting the answer right just based on your NCRT. The Orient Express line runs from Paris to Istanbul is common knowledge. If you haven't known about this, then please do your Google search, please do your research, and you will know about this. Why would they ask a question on railways now? Because high-speed railway network in India is much in news. We are also trying to revamp our railway infrastructure. Therefore, railways become a critical aspect of your preparation. Also, there are various committees which are suggesting revamping and overhauling of the railways network in India. I would advise all of you to go through that once again and get your aspects right. Another question number 53 is about Trans-Pacific Railway Network, Trans-Asiatic Railway linking Istanbul with Bangkok. All these railway networks are very, very important because China is coming up with its One Belt, One Road initiative. India is also coming up with its Sagarmala initiative. So everything in the near future is about the geostrategic advantage that the countries would enjoy amongst each other, and for that railway networks become indispensable. Since railway network becomes indispensable, we need to know everything about railways and their development and their spread as well. Therefore, we have tried to introduce and incorporate a lot of questions based on railways, not just something that is appearing in the NCRTs. So moving along, there are so many questions which are about tungsten, steel, oil, natural gas. Yes, question number 56 is very interesting because it talks about exclusive economic zone and it also talks about the seabed. Exclusive economic zone and seabed are very important aspects once again, is because of the sovereign dispute raging on in the South China Sea. International Court of Justice has very clearly stated that China has no sovereign rights over the part of islands in the South China Sea, and the issue has to be taken care of on the negotiation table. But China, being a big brother, has asserted its hegemony in the region once again by stating that the region belongs to its sovereign lands. So herein comes the debatable question or the vexed question as to what actually constitutes an exclusive economic zone and what is a seabed. In that sense, you need to read a lot about SEZ, CRZ, which is Coastal Regulation Zone, as well as Exclusive Economic Zone, right? The answer is obviously that EEZ includes the contiguous zone. Okay, countries have rights to the seabed of what is called the continental shelf up to 200 nautical miles from the coastline. Now, the countries have right to the seabed of continental shelf up to 350 nautical miles from the coastline. Right, now this is a trivial information, but has been much in news, has been a part of every columnist article, has been a part of many editorials, and therefore such information would be used to flummox you into thinking कि 200 nautical miles दिया है तो उतना ही रहेगा, मगर ऐसा नहीं है. Question number 58, it gives Europe a new gateway to the Indian Ocean and reduces direct sea route distance between Liverpool and Colombo compared to the Cape of Good Hope route. Cape of Good Hope, you should know, is a part of the southern tip of Africa, and it's in South Africa. So therefore, Suez Canal becomes important. जब Suez Canal खुला था, so it became a gateway between Europe and Asia. Right. So this question was basically based on your understanding of the map. If you look at the wordings of statement number 1. As an answer, both the answers are right, both the question statements are right. And as I mentioned about South Africa, see, the Cape route appears here. Cape of Good Hope or Cape Town is a famous place or a city in South Africa, right? Every cricket enthusiast would know about the Cape Town pitch. Now moving along, there is a question on the National Wind Solar Hybrid Policy. Such kind of questions should be expected by the aspirant is because National Wind Solar Hybrid Policy is in direct correlation with India's INDCs. What are INDCs? Intended Nationally Determined Contributions. India has been a signatory to what? To the Paris Climate Change Conference, where every country will pledge its efforts towards the remediation of climate change and global warming. And we have pledged 175 gigawatts of renewable and clean energy or from renewable and clean energy resources, right? Out of which, if you talk about the solar policy, it would be about 100 gigawatts, right? Also, India has lost a dispute as regards photovoltaic cells and their subsidies at the WTO against the US. So now there are not one but two issues which connect this question. Therefore, definitely, if India is coming up with a national wind solar hybrid policy, it becomes a very likely question. I am just trying to reinvigorate your understanding and trying to emphasize on questions which are going to be appearing in the new paper in the next year. So please go through the explanations once again. Both the options are definitely right. As I have spoken about wind solar hybrid capacity, क्योंकि solar का उसमें 100 गीगावाट कंट्रीब्यूशन रहेगा, विंड का 60 गीगावाट कंट्रीब्यूशन रहेगा. Financing for hybrid projects may be made available to IREDA, and IREDA also has been in the news and has been a part of your PT 2015. So National Wind Solar Hybrid Policy will be a part of PT 2017. It's a very likely topic, very burning topic. Therefore, please keep a track of that. Now, moving along, you have some certain questions which are straight away lifted from NCRTs. Meanwhile, we also talk about the IT Innovation Startup Fund. India is trying to create an ecosystem where entrepreneurs feel safe, where entrepreneurs feel that there is a healthy, robust system which supports entrepreneurship and enterprise. Make in India stand up India पे question 2016 PT में आ चुका है. So in PT 2017 they might ask about Innovation Startup Fund. Already innovation पे एक ऐसे आ चुका है इस बार, how it fosters growth, right? Therefore, such things are always in news. Digital India, things related to global warming and climate change, things related to Make in India, Namami Gange, river rejuvenation, interlinking of projects. So, therefore, we have made a conscious effort to involve such question statements in your test series so that you are already ready and well acquainted with the kind of questions that will be asked. Stand Up India के बाद it becomes highly likely that this IT Innovation Startup Fund would be asked. Paid up capital आपको पता होना चाहिए और किसने float किया ये भी पता होना चाहिए. Okay, so it will get assistance up to 3 crore to a firm registered in India for promoting their business innovation using technology in financial services. So there are questions regarding current affairs, there are questions regarding railways. Now, question 67 is worded in a format that it tries to describe a tribe. Now, such descriptions are a part of Hindu and Indian Express and other editorials which appear in the newspaper columns. And therefore, you have to keep a close eye because tribes के ऊपर last 2 साल से ज़्यादा question नहीं पूछे गए हैं. So हो सकता है कि next year tribes के ऊपर 1 या 2 question definitely पूछेंगे. Now, फर्टिलाइजर के ऊपर मैंने कुछ क्वेश्चंस डाले हुए हैं यहाँ पे. नीम कोटेड यूरिया के ऊपर भी क्वेश्चन डाला गया है, क्वेश्चन नंबर 70. Very important because in PT 2016 only, like this year, a question was asked. So UPSC has a tendency to repeat questions. Who knows, maybe on neem coated urea there could be a question next time also. Therefore, it is required for you to go through the explanation, right? The correct answer would be all. That neem has proven nitrification inhibition properties. This way, it slows down the process of nitrogen release from urea. Thus, it reduces the consumption of the fertilizer. It enhances the yield and it decreases urea requirement. Okay. Why is this important? Is because we are moving towards organic techniques in agriculture, and this being one of them, and obviously therefore appeared in PT 2016. Now moving along, we have a question based on soils. We again have inducted some questions based on maps. As you can see, please go through these maps. Question number 74 is about UGC and AICTE. UGC and AICTE के बीच में tussle चल रहा है because IITs को autonomy मिलनी चाहिए कि नहीं? Who will decide the curriculum? Is there autonomy in decision making? Overlapping powers? These are the issues, and therefore could also be mentioned as issues plaguing the Indian education system. So therefore, if there is an essay on education, you can talk about the UGC IIT controversy. Also, which is the overarching regulatory body in India regards education is a vexed issue, right? You can also use that to talk about national education policy, and maybe certain powers, roles, responsibilities, and functions of UGC or AICTE could be asked in the examination. So make a short note on that and paste it on your wall until you are able to commit it to your memory. Okay. So moving along, we see that there is a question on PC and PNDT Act. Why? Is because of malpractices used by the doctors, much in news. Therefore, this question was asked. Monazite again appears, thorium occurs, right? Monazite is an ore. We have seen that in the initial part of this discussion as well. Therefore, nuclear energy, as you can see, the basis of this paper or the thrust of this paper is majorly upon clean energy sources and renewable energy sources. Okay, there's a question on Supreme Court. This is directly lifted from your current affairs, right? Now the next question is, if Navy started rescue mission on Havelock Island, then in which direction Navy should start to navigate? ऐसे direction based questions बहुत ज़्यादा आते हैं यूपीएससी में. हो सकता है कि Havelock Island पे कोई question ना आए, मगर हो सकता है कि उसके directional या locational positioning पे question आ सकता है. इसलिए we have given it in the map also. This is the macro map and this is the micro map. So you will know that Indian Navy has to move from Port Blair to Havelock Island. Again, some current affairs we can see. Now FSSAI, इसके ऊपर already UPSC में question आ चुका है इस साल PT 2016. So as I said, some questions could be repeated or some topics could be repeated. Therefore, there is adequate information given here, right? All of the above are correct, included in the agreement. Therefore, just go through these three statements. This commit them to your memory, so you will not forget them. Also, this is the regulatory authority as regards food safety and security in India is concerned. So, could be a part of your essay or could be a part of your mains also next year, right? I'm repeating again that a revision of this would be very essential. India is in an expansionary mode as regards Indian Navy, Indian Army and Indian Air Force. We are also expanding and refitting or retrofitting or even strengthening our nuclear warheads or a capacity to develop a triad of nuclear warheads, like nuclear warheads which could be launched from sea, air and land. Okay, in that sense Tejas becomes very important because it's an aircraft, was in the news also. Fixed dose combination drugs were also in news because of the drug policy that India has just unveiled. Essential drugs कौन से है, उसकी list कौन सी है, scheduled drug कौन से है, ये सारा आपको देखना पड़ेगा. And we are also talking about the Haqqani network, which was in the news for a very long time. Afghanistan is the correct answer for that. So we sign off with the question number 100, which talks about South American President Juan Manuel Santos won the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, if there is a Nobel Peace Prize, we have to know कि किसको मिला है and which country does he belong to, or what is his body of work. So such questions, although Nobel Prize या Nobel Committee के ऊपर कोई question आया नहीं है पिछले 5 साल में, but this year or next year they may ask. So therefore, just to keep you abreast with the happenings from the Nobel Committee, just see who has received what Nobel and also see their body of work की किस topic में मिला हुआ है, and then make a short note on that and just read it like every 15 days or 10 days unless you are able to completely crystallize that within your memory. ठीक है? So with this, we come to the end of online test discussion 3 at ASHA's IS Institute. I thank you all of you for your effort, for your patience to go through this video. Please log on to our YouTube channel to watch more videos at ASHA's IS Institute for enriching your knowledge and for also for fast tracking your preparation. I'll see you in the next installment when we'll be discussing about online test number 4. Till then, happy studying. I'm signing off as Rohan Dange from ASHA's IS Institute.